Okay, welcome to the final part of this presentation. So now that you've written your TikTok script, let's talk about it. Let's think about some things to consider. So how can it be improved? Well, first off, how can it be shortened? Every single word counts. Not only with keeping the viewer's attention, but also fitting into 60 seconds, being as concise as you can. Every single word counts. So this is another reason why writing out a script can be important, because you might find that you explain something and you use a 6 or 7 word phrase to describe something. And then you realize when you write it out that can be easily replaced with a single word. And that saves you, and maybe if you refer to that thing a few times throughout the video, you're saving yourself a bunch of words, and that's a bunch of time. Just like the presentation slide, what visuals can be used to aid the presentation. Start to think about, like, throughout your video, maybe what parts would you show, or what images would you show at what parts. I think, in my case, if I'm talking about a synapse, I want a synapse on the screen behind me if I can, which you can do on TikTok, while I'm describing what a synapse is, because that way they can see it, hear it, process it all at once. And that will be extremely helpful versus me spending time also saying, this is what a synapse looks like. Just imagine that there's a signal going from here to here. It's a neurotransmitter. If I can just skip all that explanation and have an image behind me, I'm saving myself a lot of time, and I'm making it easier for them to understand. Be strategic and thoughtful with your visuals, right? So this is what I just went through. Yeah, again, you don't want to use the image of a traffic light. You would rather use the image of a synapse, because people know what a traffic light looks like, but not a synapse. Don't make yourself vulnerable. Address all the questions that you can in the script. So I think if there are clear gaps in the information where you're just sort of jumping from one thing to another, people are going to be pretty confused. So you want to make sure that you're addressing that as well as you can. Don't leave holes, not only because it hurts the viewer's ability to understand it, but also you're making yourself vulnerable to not necessarily attacks, but definitely questions, and you're also making yourself vulnerable to losing their attention. This is key. This is one thing I learned throughout my experiences. Address attrition points. And what I mean by attrition points are parts in the video where people might get bored and swipe away. You want to make sure that you're identifying the critical parts that are the inflection points, I suppose, where people will decide, well, I'm not really interested in this anymore. And those will typically be parts where you're spending a long period of time explaining something, or you are in the middle of something very detailed and difficult to explain. Both of those are going to be key things, and you can address them by putting something, you may be like mixing in something exciting, like you can change where you're filming in. You can put an interesting image behind you. You can even put a message on the screen that says, like, hold on, just like wait, like bear with me for the next 10 seconds. Think about how you might address that. But I would encourage in this case to think about it in the context of what words might you use. All right, and now activity 4, the last activity, expand. So let's pretend that now you have 3 minutes. Instead of having an only 60-second window to create your TikTok, you now have a 3-minute window. And of course, as you might imagine, this is going to be an opportunity for you to build your 3-minute thesis pitch. So take a look at your script and think critically about it. Think, what would someone watching this not get? What are they missing? What critical pieces of information did you have to leave out because you are restricted to just a 60-second window? And how could you enhance the clarity of the presentation by introducing just a few extra points here and there? So what information can you add is point 1. Number 2, how might you make it more clear? If you had only a 60-second window, you might have had to either leave out an entire explanation, or maybe oversimplify something to just like, a synapse is like a traffic light, but you don't really explain it. Now you have an opportunity to expand on that. This is a chance to take what you have and build and expand upon it. You may have been wondering why I made you make a TikTok video. I wanted you to take your research and distill it to its finest points. I wanted you to ask yourself, what are the most critical pieces of my research that I would include if I only had 60 seconds? Now this is an opportunity for you to build from that and determine what are the critical pieces that you need to add to make it as good and clear as you possibly can. So I hope that this will be helpful. I hope that overall you learned something throughout this entire process. And I actually really genuinely hope that you're walking away from this with the beginnings of a 3-minute thesis pitch. Of course, you'll have to sit down for a little bit after this and work on this. But I want to thank you for attending. I want to thank the University of Minnesota for having me. If you're interested, this is going to take you to my personal link tree, basically, where you can access my website and my social medias. You can also email me there. But I'm really grateful to have been able to give this presentation. I hope that it was helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you very much.